Thank you, Ashta. 7:13 on the morning edition. The origins of a song has become a mystery to solve for some people online. Here's a bit of it. The song is called C.I.A. No one actually knows if that's the real name or where it came from and who the musicians are. It's considered a lost wave, and a group of amateur online sleuths think there may be ties to our area. To explain, I'm joined now by CBC KW's Kate Bickert. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning, Joe.
What is a lost wave?
So a lost wave is a song where we have no information about it. We don't know who is singing, who helped make it, nothing. So when you think about today, every time you upload any kind of file, like music, photo, PDF, anything to a website, there's metadata attached to it. We know who made it. We know what the date it was made, the time even. In this case, the song is known as C.I.A. It's believed to have been taped off a Toronto radio station called CFNY-FM. That is what we know today as 102.1 The Edge. In the 1980s, it was also an alternative music station catering to a young audience, and people might not be aware, but back in the 80s and early 90s, when I was a kid, we used to use cassette tapes to record music off the radio. And I know when I did it, I was always so annoyed when the announcer would speak over the start or the end of a song. In this case, whoever recorded the song must have been thrilled because the radio announcer is nowhere on this tape. But that also means we don't have any information telling the audience who this is.
So how did we here at CBC-KW become aware of this song?
So we got an email from Joe Gashler, who runs a forum on the website Reddit specifically dedicated to this one song. He calls this a 42-year-old musical cold case and one of the most popular lost wave mysteries out there right now. He explained to me a bit about his motivation to find out who is behind the song.
I came across the song maybe about 3 years ago now. Whoever did this song did an amazing job. It's a great song. People love it. I think they deserve the attention that they'll get if we do finally find out who the band is. Someone sort of pressed record back in, we think about 1984. They preserved what's a great song, a great mystery, and I think they really deserve the credit.
So the song has been uploaded to YouTube, and 2 different YouTube videos have now amassed more than 1 million views, but as of yet, no real answers on who is behind it.
I listened to CFNY in the 80s and had cassettes as well, Kate, and this song sounds like about 20 other songs that I heard from
really
that
does.
era.
I'm sure lots of people feel that way right now.
It certainly did perk my ears, and I grew up in Guelph, but here in Kitchener-Waterloo, why do they think there is a connection to this area?
So these amateur musical sleuths have searched in Toronto, the Toronto radio station, maybe it's a Toronto band, but without any positive identification, Joe says they have now widened the search.
Definitely the area from the radio station we believe it was broadcast from in the mid-80s covered the Kitchener-Waterloo area. That was CFNY radio. And literally, I've got to say, pretty much everyone in the Toronto area, or almost everyone who was anyone in the musical area has been asked. Literally thousands of people have been asked. The search has now moved on to possibly Kitchener-Waterloo area, or it must be a band possibly from somewhere a little bit outside of the, possibly a little bit outside of the Greater Toronto area.
So now the folks on Reddit and other searchers are trying to find people here in our area, in Waterloo region, maybe Guelph, who might have been part of the music scene, who may recognize someone from the band or that song. And so that's why they reached out to us.
Doesn't the radio station have information on this?
Well, no. I spoke to Alan Cross, who is the former music director at The Edge and probably one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to Canadian music. And at first, he thought this was a song called Subways of Your Mind, which is a lost wave from the 1980s as well, but it was identified in 2024 as being from a German band named Fex. I just want to play you a bit of the 2 songs back to back. So I know we already played it, but just as a refresher, here's the lyrics to how C.I.A. starts. Now we're going to go to Subways of Your Mind. So definitely you can hear that they're kind of close, but they're different enough, different lyrics. One's German for that. So Cross says that he's talked to people who worked at the station at the time. So Liz Janik hosted a show called Streets of Ontario. Ivor Hamilton had a show called The Original Import Show. Neither of them have any knowledge of this track.
There is no record of it anywhere, trust me, at CFNY. And the people that would have most likely played it don't know anything about it. It could be that everything has been misremembered and the whole thing has taken on a life of its own.
So kind of an interesting theory there. Maybe this is a song that we do know, but it's just not recognizable to people. As for the radio station's archives, Cross says those are all in his house, and he's been through them. So the radio station, that's a dead end, it seems.
Oh, interesting. So, but how common is it for a song to be a lost wave like this with no information?
It does happen, and people do figure out the mystery eventually, like Subways of Your Mind, but it's really not all that common. So Joe says he's had people say to him, well, why don't you just Shazam it? And for people that don't know, Shazam is a website or app that you can play a song and it helps identify you. And he said to me, if it was that easy, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. So Shazam does come up with people who have sampled the song, but it's never the original information about who made the song. And when I say that people of Reddit are searching, I mean really searching. They are taking super deep dives in going down rabbit holes to find any hint of who this band may be. And that's really fascinating to Kate Galloway. She's an assistant professor of popular music at Wilfrid Laurier University here in Waterloo.
I think what fascinates these community groups around lost waves and the type of forensic listening or forensic kind of detective work they're doing to kind of find out the source, find its origin. And it's actually can be surprisingly difficult sometimes to identify who created certain recordings depending on how they came to be online. But it is also very hard for musicians to remain permanently anonymous.
So she says these musical detectives are going to spend hours following breadcrumbs, looking at things like vocal styles, production techniques, even regional accents when they can. Anything to try to figure out who is behind the song.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why do these random people on the internet care so much about a song?
Well, I mean, who doesn't love a good mystery? Yeah. That's kind of fun. But Galloway says often it's also because the song feels familiar. And I feel like anyone that I've talked to who knows music from the 80s feels that way about this song. They're like, I feel like I should know this song. It's something from maybe their childhood. And so people become personally invested.
I think there definitely is that kind of retro nostalgia to this type of case in that in an era where we're being told or we're experiencing that there's a surplus of online information, that certain types of kind of archival knowledge are maybe less valuable because we can open up Wikipedia or we can open up a music streaming service and find the date of composition, the name, the title of the recordings to very easily. This idea that there isn't that ease of information online, but it also fuels a lot of coming together by different listeners online.
So people are invested in the mystery itself. It's also now somewhat of a niche experience to try to look something up online and get nothing back. How often does that happen anymore? But there's also that sense of community. Everyone's searching for the same thing. So relationships form, even some friendships among the people who are looking for the band behind this C.I.A. song or other lost waves.
So what if they never find out who wrote and performed this song?
I did ask Joe if there might be a kind of beauty to never actually knowing, and he said no. Definitely he wants to know who is behind the band, mostly to give them the credit they deserve. But he says he's really enjoyed the ongoing work to get there.
The mystery is just incredible. I like these cold cases and these mysteries. And when you look into it, one of the great things about searching in this area of lost wave is when you start delving into it, you come across a whole bunch of other obscure bands that probably never got the attention that they deserve. And I've come across some amazing music. My playlist now has got a whole bunch of really obscure bands that are just fantastic. It's part of the joy of the search.
So for now, Joe and the others will expand their search to here in our area. They're going to ask some more people about it. And at the end of this, we're going to play the song. So we'll see if anyone listening now might know who the band is.
And if people think they might have information, how do they get that information to the people who are searching, Kate?
So Joe and the other searchers are on a subreddit called C.I.A. Lost Wave. There is a regular Lost Wave subreddit too, but this one, C.I.A. Lost Wave, is specifically dedicated to this one song. And there are posts every single day on this subreddit. So this is a serious search that's going on. That's probably the best way to get in touch with the people searching for the song. But if people don't have Reddit, they don't want to log on to it, they can also email us here at CBCKW, and we will make sure the information gets to Joe and the searchers. So that email, of course, is yournewskw@cbc.ca.
So interesting, Kate. I'm intrigued. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Joe.
That's CBC-KW's Kate Bickert. As she mentioned, we're going to play the Lost Waves song now. Here is the song known currently as C.I.A. by an unknown band. All right, that song is over. That is the song C.I.A., A Lost Wave, and online sleuths are trying to figure out what band is behind it. They think it could be someone from here in Kitchener-Waterloo and maybe the Guelph area. Do you have any thoughts? If you are of a certain age, do you have cassettes still from the 80s? All I could think of when I was listening to the song is, yeah, that sounds like early 80s, something I would have heard on CFNY. How about you? One other thing I did, and I know Kay talked about this, is I did put it through Shazam, and a song came up called The C.I.A. Brothers by Simi. Never heard of that. We also received an email. Actually, I'm just going to click on that. That is from Scott, who asked, is there any chance this is the band Zip Zip 4 from Cambridge, Ontario? Not familiar with the song C.I.A., but it sounds a lot like them. And you know what? Scott is right. I actually happened to take a look just quickly while the song was on, and I found Zip Zip 4, band called Zip Zip 4, and it sure does sound like the song this as known now as C.I.A. What are your thoughts? Emails, phone calls, let us know. You can email us at yournewskw at CBC, yournewskw at cbc.ca. And actually, I'm just hearing from Lauren right now. We also received a call. Lauren.
Good morning. It's Mark calling. I won't give you my last name. I believe the group you were looking for this Lost C.I.A. song is Zip Zip 4. I want to spell them correctly. Zip Zip 4, Martin Dorn, Mike Waring, Harry Hillier, and I don't remember who the guy was in the drum kits. There's a gentleman, Bill Burris, who started a chain of record store in the KW area called The Beat Goes On. He might have some insight, but this really sounds like Martin and Zip Zip 4. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Oh, wow. So that's Mark and Scott, both a call, an email and a phone call saying really sounds like Zip Zip 4. And Mark's got some names there. We'll take a look at that. So interesting. If you have thoughts, email us, yournewskw at cbc.ca. And you can read more about this story on our website, cbc.ca/KW. Thank you to both Mark and Scott. It is 7:30.